There is only one kind of man. 99% of women are powerless to resist. And no, it's not the wealthy guy, the bad boy, or even the kind guy. If you're about to click away, don't, because if you watch this video through to the end, you'll discover a truth about attraction that even most women don't consciously realize themselves. Now, pay close attention, because what you're about to hear isn't found in dating books, podcasts, or even what your friends are telling you, but the men who get it and understand this one truth are the ones that women daydream about when no one else is around. If you want to delve even deeper into the information I can't share publicly, I've opened the members-only room. It's raw, unfiltered, and that's where the real game begins. Now let's begin. Sign 1. The man who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't need her approval. You know who she can't resist. And it's not the man who's nice, it's not the man who's wealthy. Rather, it's the man who doesn't flinch. Let me explain. Imagine this. You're speaking to a woman who is accustomed to men changing their tone to suit her, laughing too hard at her jokes, and texting her 14 times a day. Then she meets you, the guy who listens without trying to impress, the guy who can disagree and doesn't back down just to keep the peace. That's when her brain short-circuits. Why? Because women are wired to respect men who go about their lives as if they don't need permission to exist. The man who isn't afraid to walk away, the man who can take a step back and say, "This isn't for me." She may be charming, bright, and beautiful, but if a man touches something deep inside her, you become the exception. That's a true story. One of my customers. That's what happens when you're the guy who doesn't flinch, doesn't panic when she takes too long to reply, and doesn't care if she cancels plans. Mike, a regular dude software engineer, kind of quietly told me about a girl he met at a tech mixer who was so gorgeous that every guy in the room was swooning over her. She approached him, and you know what he did? He yawned, not angrily, just casually, because he was exhausted. That was it. She was hooked for months. You don't beg for attention, and ironically, that's what attracts her attention, because women are more interested in men they can't figure out than in men who chase them. Sign 2. The mirror he reflects, he doesn't perform. Have you ever met someone who simply looks at you, not in a spooky way, but in a way that makes you feel as though you're not being tested or judged? That's the second type of man that women can't resist. Let me explain. The majority of males perform for women by talking about their cars, accomplishments, and muscles. It's as if they're trying out for a part she didn't even ask them to play. But then there's the man who acts as a mirror. He listens intently to her when she talks about her goals, and doesn't try to outdo her when she shares her pain or try to fix her. Instead, he just reflects what she's saying. It's unnerving in the best way, because women live in a society where men are always trying to sell them, and when they encounter someone who isn't selling, it feels like oxygen. A performer might respond, "Oh yeah, I run my own business, 16 hours a day, no breaks." Why? When a woman tells you she has been working 14-hour days in an attempt to get a promotion. The mirror asks him, "Sounds exhausting, do you feel like it's worth it?" as he tries to win. Whoa, that's intimacy, not just a question. You've seen her beyond the surface and touched something deep inside of her. This doesn't mean you agree with everything she says. Rather, it means you respond, reflect, and don't react in order to manipulate her. However, because you don't have to control the situation, she starts to feel safe. And the truth is that when a woman feels safe with a man, everything changes all of a sudden. She starts texting you, rereading your messages, and trying to figure out who you are, because you're now the mystery. You're an experience, not simply a guy. Sign 3, the storm in his calm. He's still, but he's not soft. This one is dangerous, but in a good way. A man enters a room and no one hears him. He's not loud, he's not flashy, but women notice and don't know why. They just sense it, because he carries tension, controlled chaos, a storm beneath still waters. He's calm, but not soft. There's a quiet intensity about him, and women pick it up in the way he maintains eye contact for a moment longer, in the way he doesn't try to fix her feelings, but rather lets them flow. His center is what women are responding to. He is grounded and solid, and he knows who he is. She leans in curiously, pokes, and tests him, but he doesn't budge, doesn't fold, and it's not cockiness. And this man may say 5 words in a conversation, but each one lands like a punch. The crazy part is that he could be a billionaire or a barista. There is certainty, I think, of a quote from Marcus Aurelius. She senses that the only place where man can find a calmer or more peaceful haven is within himself. This man has turned within. He has done the job and doesn't need anybody else to finish him. As a result, when she walks into his environment, it feels like she is entering a profound quiet, and that silence makes her heart race and her mind spin. She asks herself, what is it about him? But she will never truly understand, which is why she continues returning. The 4th sign. There is an odd, almost eerie power to the man who understands when to leave. In the man who doesn't hesitate to go, not acting like some juvenile punk by ghosting, flaking, or playing hard. I'm referring to the man who, when he notices something is amiss, calmly, silently, and confidently walks away. You may have seen him in a movie or in real life. He's the one seated across from a woman at a table, and she tests, teases, and tries to start a fight. He doesn't argue, he just smiles, gets up, and walks away. The twist is that he enrages her not because he was impolite, nor because he stormed off, but because he didn't need her approval. 99% of women will tell you that they have never met a man like that in real life, but when they do, they will always remember him. You see, most guys chase after women and try to prove themselves, trying to win her over, even when it's obvious that she isn't putting in the same amount of work as this man who knows the price of peace and doesn't beg or compete. Allow me to share a quotation with you from Robert Greene. Few people have the capacity to walk away without turning around, and everyone respects that, so how can you become that guy? It's straightforward, yet difficult. You must learn to be detached and love yourself enough to never accept treatment from others as a fallback option, a stand-in, or an option. And when a woman knows you're about to go, she stops pushing you and begins pursuing you because your time suddenly has worth. I was dating a girl who kept texting other guys as friends and making excuses, so one guy told me a story that perfectly captures this. Rather than confronting her with drama, he said, "Hey, you're free to do whatever you want, but I'm not the guy who waits around while someone figures out whether I'm worth it." The way you leave a lasting impression is by making her regret losing you, not through manipulation, but through unwavering standards. She initially laughed and said he was overreacting. He smiled, deleted her number, and went silent. 2 weeks later, she was in his direct messages, saying she missed him, messed up, and wanted to talk, but by then he had already moved on. There's something strange about women. They don't always believe what you say. Instead, they believe how you make them feel. Sign 5. The man who makes her feel like the only woman in the room but doesn't say a word. The man who can make her heart race across a crowded room without saying a word that he owns something. Even money can't buy presents, fake confidence, or flashy charm. For that 1 second, you don't even need a pickup line or to flex. In fact, silence becomes your hidden weapon because of the serene, grounded energy that makes a lady feel like she's the only person in the world. According to a woman's Reddit story, she was at a party with lots of people, but she kept noticing this one guy who was quiet and clean. Every time she looked at him, he didn't turn away like the others. Instead, he maintained eye contact that was confident, playful, and not creepy. Eventually, she approached him and began talking, saying, "You look like you didn't need anyone, but I wanted to be the one you wanted." The whole point is that he made her feel wanted, not chased. He didn't come off needy. He didn't broadcast thirst. And because he had power, she entered his world. In a world full of oversharers and validation seekers, women are drawn to men who make them feel special without making them feel small, who lift them up without putting themselves down, and who remain mysterious. This type of presence makes women fantasize, and it stays in their minds long after the interaction is over. Therefore, the next time you enter a room, don't try too hard, don't chase attention, be intentional, and let your energy speak before your words, because when you become that rare guy who makes her feel wanted, she will crave you long after she leaves. Sign 6 is the man who transforms his suffering into strength, and she can sense it. Here's a crazy fact. Most men don't realize that women are incredibly skilled at detecting emotional strength. I'm not talking about the tough guy, never cry type. That's a mask. I'm talking about the man who has faced his demons and come out of hell wiser, not bitter. He doesn't hide his scars, he wears them like armor, not out of sympathy or boasting, but because he owns his story. Let's make this real with a quote from Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will guide your life and you will call it fate. Women are wired to seek protection, not just physical but emotional as well, and they feel safe when they meet a man who has overcome chaos, heartbreak, betrayal, and resiliency. This is because he isn't reactive, he doesn't get triggered easily, he reads, trains, travels, and finds mentors. When he started dating again, women noticed something odd about him. He listened more, he wasn't clingy, he didn't flinch at red flags, and he had this "you can't shake me" vibe that drove women wild. He once told me, "The worst thing that happened to me became the best, because now I walk with depth, and women feel that even before I open my mouth." If you have experienced heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, or pain that has been transformed into power, loss, or leadership, don't bury it. Instead, use it to grow from it. This is because a man who exudes calm wisdom and walks with emotional gravity not only attracts women, but also inspires them. The fact that 99% of women can't forget you've reached the end already sets you apart from the typical man, because most men click away, chase shortcuts, and never understand what truly moves a woman on a deeper level. However, you're not just looking to attract, you're here to understand and elevate, to master your own energy so deeply that women feel drawn to you, not because of some line or trick, but because of who you've become. The question now is what you'll do with this knowledge. You've just revealed the truth about the kind of man that 99% of women fall for. But this isn't about acting or playing games, it's about embodying. The qualities that set you apart include speaking like your words carry weight, moving like a man who knows he doesn't need to chase because the right people will always notice, walking like you own your story, and subscribing if you're serious about improving, not just in dating, but in life. We break through the noise on this channel. No sugarcoating or filler, simply honest observation supported by Stoic fortitude. Tell me in the comments below what kind of man you are or are becoming. Until the next time, keep in mind that a lion doesn't lose sleep over sheep's opinions. Be the lion. If you're the type of man who wants to delve deeper to master the unspoken dynamics of attraction, confidence, and control, I'm personally inviting you into something most men will never see. The Stoic Inner Circle members' exclusive room, where you'll find uncensored strategies. But wait, before you go, what I just shared in this video barely scratches the surface. I can't share publicly psychological breakdowns of female behavior that'll make you 10 times smarter in every interaction weekly. Members, only videos, voice notes, and in-depth analyses, direct communication with me, and an expanding group of men who share your high regard. This is where the real transformation takes place. Once you're inside, you'll understand why some men never get ghosted, never chase, and never settle. Spots are limited because power is reserved for the few who are ready. The room is open, but it won't be for long. Link in the description. Join the members' room and begin seeing results. Before, you could only dream about how the man who walks alone walks faster, and the man who walks with a mission becomes unstoppable. This is your mission.